what is that word I want to say? It's easy to say love, but you want what is the word? You want to feel it.
That affection.
You want to
and
feel the
affirmation.
affection part of it.
Yep. And it was like I didn't know I need. Like you can't. I couldn't then explain what I think I needed, but
I think one of the reasons why you might have felt that way is because, as far as me and my mom, my dad wasn't in my life. My mother moved me back here when I was 3. I was born in San Jose, California. She moved me back here to Toledo, Ohio. And everybody else raised me because she was working. Plus, she was kicking it. Not doing bad things in the street, but she was kicking it. So I was always raised by somebody else. And I didn't have that.
yeah.
So it was like either I was at aunt this house, aunt that house, or aunt this house. She didn't really start raising me until I was in the 9th grade.
Yeah.
Now, I came here when I was 3, so she really didn't start raising me until I was in the 9th grade.
Yeah.
So I really didn't get that even. And then I was the only child also.
Yeah.
So I could see where we have that. Yeah, it's different.
I think it took me to have an honest reflection about how I felt, though, to even understand that just as much as I have a journey and hardship and stuff coming up, that you also had it, and Kevin Sr. Like it took a lot. I don't even think I realized that until probably like when he was passing. They're like, oh shoot, like, I'm the child. Life has happened. Things are crazy. But I do remember always wondering, like, did you actually want me as a child? Like I hear like you got pregnant, but did you actually want a kid? Wow.
I wanted somebody that I could love, that I could hold on to, that I could go, this is mine. Because I was on birth control, but necessarily didn't take them right. So really, that's why Mama didn't understand how did I get pregnant. But I wanted that. This is mine. This is mine. I can do this. It's and with your biological father, even though his father was in his life, he was more financially there for him than he was emotionally.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot in families.
Yeah.
And it's hard. That's why really people say you should, go to school, graduate, get a good job, then get married, because you can be able to.
Yeah. And I think I struggle with that too, though.
But that don't always happen that way.
Right. And I struggle with it because I did all the steps and still hit hard rock bottom. And that weight, I think there was a lot of weight there too, to do all the things that everybody wanted me to do. And as you know, we've had many conversations about like, I've done that, and then like, ain't nobody helping me pay this debt right now. Ain't nobody helping, me with this. My therapist is taking care of the crazy part. Like it's so like, but people kept pressing, do these things, and I try not to offer that to people. I'm like, hey, whatever pathway makes most sense to you, you need to find it, because like like me, Rick and Jermaine, we got 3 totally different pathways, raised in the same home, right? Like, but we didn't all follow the same pathway to get to where. And I feel like Jermaine's and Ricky's situation are actually a lot better than mine because they have different opportunities or get to see different things that I didn't. But it is hard sometimes too, especially when I think back. Like I remember having a conversation with Granny a little while back, and she was saying, well, I don't understand why you just didn't, because she's like looking at me now like, I'm a solopreneur, I'm doing all this work, I've been helping all these young people literally since I was 15 and a half. In a workspace, like mentoring young kids and stuff, like doing all this work. And she's like, I don't understand why you didn't do this a long time ago. And I'm like, lady, you were the one who said I had to go to school and I had to do this and I had to do that. I was like, do you remember how much pressure you was putting on me you got to go to college, you got to do this? And she was like, I don't remember telling you that. And then she kind of giggled because she owned it, but she knew. And she was like, well, that's not what I meant. I just want the best for you. And I think a lot of times the adults in our lives, the caregivers, the mothers, the father, we want, you want the best for your kids, but the way it gets articulated, that's not what comes across.
And it's also sometimes we want what we didn't do, and we push it off on our children, our grandkids, and everybody has to decide what they want to do in life. You got to have that option, not be told you're going to do this, this, and this. Because then you got to live, and it's hard. It's hard because I didn't go to college. My mother didn't go to college. My grandmother didn't go to college. My grandfather didn't go to college. My aunt didn't go to college. My immediate family didn't go to college. But you did, which was a blessing. But it was still hard because we was looking like, oh, he going. Oh, he's going to,
Yeah.
And Jermaine did. It's like, oh, he's going.
Yeah.
So, that's a lot of pressure on a child.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Even though you're supposed to be grown, you're still a child. It's a lot. That's a lot of pressure.
I think too, though, the pressure, I thought it was the pressure of succeeding, like finishing school, doing everything. Once I realized it, once I started unpacking that stuff and realizing that that's not really what it was, the pressure of doing what y'all asked. Like, it was so much like, well, because they said this, because I've had people challenge me and go, well, why are you doing this? And like, because my mama said, or why are you, like my grandma said, like, it's that pressure of, because like I even have conversations with Jermaine, and I'm like, where did you get that from? Like, as he's talking about things, well, I got to do this, this, and this. Who told you had to do that? And so we'll challenge each other that way to kind of get pushback. Like, you don't have to do that, bro. Like, that ain't actually how you have to do it. That's what, they, like you said, living, almost what's that phrase? Like living vicariously through somebody else's life. Yeah. That was their job to do that. You do what you want to do. Yeah. And like, I look at him and I'm like, this boy that bought a home, bought land for his business, paid it off already. Like, and he in his early 30s. And I'm like, bro, I am so proud of you for doing the right thing. Like Ricky staying in his kids' lives, even though he a young, stereotypically black males that they disappear. And he is one of, and I get to see it from afar and get to see it through you all's eyes, but he is one of the best fathers I have seen almost ever.
I know one thing that I am really, really proud of with my children, my sons. I got 3 sons, 3 African-American sons. None of them went to jail.
Yeah, no.
None of them. No. That's a blessing to me. That's amazing, because y'all could have been in so much other things.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all could have went the wrong direction. It was out there, it was in your face, but you didn't do it. You didn't do it. You chose to stay on the right path, go to school, and I am very proud of my sons. Very proud of my sons. You don't get that you don't get that. That's hard on a mother, a black mother. It's hard that you have to worry like, what wrong direction is my son gonna go? So I'm very proud of you with that. All 3 of y'all. That's a blessing. That's a blessing.
And it's funny too, because you kind of allude to this idea, like there's already a target on our back anyway, because we're born of color, and then the pressure of family, like that's the weight. And I, want to, Tarsha, my bestie, like she offers something to me, and I'm still chewing on it a little bit because it was hard to hear it because it's not something I've ever like wanted to own. But she was like, we got to take care of our men. We definitely got to take care of our men of color. And I'm like, I was raised to take care of myself. Like, I got this. She's like, I'm not talking about that. Just in support of like, complimenting, because if you have that going on the right path and doing the right things, she's like, hear the piece that we appreciate that. Right. And for me, I had to get out of the performative brain. Like, what I'm supposed to do this. Not the fact of like, I'm actually proud of myself for doing it. I'm proud of myself for getting it done. Because you're right. It could have been all 3 of y'all should be very proud. Yeah. And I think though that we don't have, I think there's a stigma though I don't believe that we know how to do that well, or that it's actually okay. Because if we don't want to come off like it's ego, we don't want to but a lot of the places and spaces I get to sit in today, a lot of the things I get to do today, people like me don't get to do, or don't get to sit at the table or have the conversations. And I sometimes forget that I do have, although I have been unprivileged in life because of the color I was born into, I have a lot more privilege than most people.
Yes, you do.
And so like I need to like own that and try to leverage that to make space for other people. But the first step in that, I think, is what she was offering me, is like, you have to own that too. But it's not always something, I don't know. I think I felt like, and even now I'm trying to process this, is like, I just was doing what I thought I was supposed to do. And it was a long while though. I was doing everything I thought all of y'all wanted me to do. And you, as you know, just in the recent years, I'm like, that ain't gonna work. Like I cannot live my life doing what everybody else wants to do.
Let me ask you this: Are you doing what you want to do?
Now I am.
Right at this moment, you're doing what you want to do.
Now I am.
That's a blessing.
Now I am.
That feels
and you know
good to me.
Thank you. Because
That's
you know
a
that turn to do that though. You know that was hard.
I
Because like
know.
I lost a lot in the
Yes.
last couple of years.
Yes.
To get here.
Yes.
But there's nothing in my heart or my soul that makes me think that was the worst side. Like it was the best thing I could have done. Like I'm glad I walked away from some things. I'm glad I walked away from relationships. I'm glad I walked away from some different ways of thinking and stuff like that, so I can really lean out into who am I in this space, and who do I want to be.
Well, you have to
who I wanna
change your
see.
circle to do better.
Yes.
Everybody has to. If you're trying to, what's the word I want to say?
Grow, elevate.
Grow, elevate. Sometimes you have to change your circle
Yeah.
for real,
Yep.
and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. One of the biggest things I think
There's nothing wrong with that.
about that is because you know I'm good. You know I would say real
Yes.
quick. I'm a good show of one. I don't have time for the extra stuff. Like
We're good for cutting people off.
Yeah,
I mean, you know,
you got that right. I have no problem.
and there's nothing wrong with cutting people off,
Yeah.
especially people that's not bringing you no positive energy.
Yeah.
They're not bringing no
If it's-
positive energy.
If it's weird, what's that? What's
Y'all
the
not
scripture?
growing
Like, iron
together. Y'all not
sharpens
trying
iron.
to grow
Yeah,
together. If
yeah.
they just there to cause havoc,
Yeah.
you got to let them go.
And it's I think it's a good, I want to be in relationships with people where I am being challenged to do differently, challenged to think differently. If we just running and doing the same stuff all the time, like, what are we really, like, what are we really
Right.
doing? Like, and and I think sometimes it's easier for us to get caught up in the life of the mundane. It's easy for us to get caught up in what's norm, be sitting and complaining and stuff all day. And I'd be like, I don't have time for all that. Like, yes, that happened. Yeah, that might have sucked. We all come from some kind of hardship. But what can we do with what we have now? Like, I don't want to keep sitting in the same stuff. And I think that what I think I'm glad about is because my childhood was so freaking hard and I had to grow up so fast. Like, it's not a lot of stuff I can remember about my childhood, like just being a kid. I remember growing up. Like, I wish I can remember some kid stuff. That would be great. Like, I hear y'all tell stories sometimes, and hearing y'all tell those stories and stuff, like, oh, you did this and you did that, and laughing, and on both sides of the family out here, right? Like, out here from the Gilmores too.
Blocked out a lot of it.
I definitely have blocked out a lot. I had to.
Yeah.
Like, I literally had to because
Yeah.
of what was going on. But it saddens me though, because now I'm trying to like learn. Like, if I tell the story, I can't even tell it from my own perspective. Like, when
Right.
you guys tell me something, because I'm like, I don't even remember that. I also, even though I didn't have that, I am also very thankful for the hardship, because there is stuff like some of my friends, stuff they had went through with people I used to be cool with, stuff like that. I'm like, that's nothing. Like, well, what am I supposed to do? I'm like, oh, just do this, this, and this. They'd be like, how did you figure that out so quick? Like, I've walked enough roads to be able to have figured out some things at a very young age.
Sometimes we have to grow up fast. And
Yeah.
a child shouldn't have to grow up fast. They need to stay. If they're a child, they need to be a child.
Yeah.
It's sad, but it happens. I've been through it. I put my kids through it. My mother went through it. It's a lot.
Yeah.
You want your kids, like my grandkids, I want them to be grandkids.
Yeah.
I'm trying, I don't want them to be raised up fast. I want them to enjoy being whatever age they are.
Yeah. Because it goes by quick.
It goes by quick.
It goes by real good. I mean, I hope that they get that plus some, because I think it's our job to make space for them to be able just to be a child, to be free, to grow up, to not really have to think about things and learn, right? Like, we don't want them to miss the learning parts, because
Right.
one day if we're not here, they got to
Right.
be able to do what they got to do. But I agree with you that they, like, at least for them too, because they're only 2 grandkids right now, nieces right now, like we have to make that space for them.
And we do.
Mm-hmm.
Our side of the family, we do. They get to see and do things that their mother does stuff with them too, that they've already been on airplanes and they just turned 4. So,
Yeah.
I mean, but
they've traveled and
they've traveled and all that, but I want them to be able to experience a lot. Going to Disney World, Disneyland, just that I didn't get to do with you guys.
Yep.
you
Which
know.
we're taking them soon. They're going to go next
and
year.
and just enjoying life. And they're twins,
Yeah,
and they have two different personalities.
they definitely do. And I get to talk to them on FaceTime and stuff. I'm like, y'all are very, very, very different. Very different. And then they're very different and they look like,
You guys.
yeah. I'm like, this is weird.
Yeah.
This is like
One
so weird.
looked like you,
Mhm.
which also looked like their dad, but
Yeah.
one also looks like my
Jermaine,
youngest son.
Yeah,
And you would not know that they were twins,
yeah, yeah.
but they're fraternal twins. But
Yeah. It's it made me think about something. What is something that you think was hard about? Because I'm thinking about Ricky in this stage of raising kids. All the work I do with young people, get to talk to a lot of parents and see a lot of different things. What was hard about raising us? I know that's a big question, but that's something that just came to mind.
not being able to expose you to everything I wanted y'all to be exposed to. Not being able to have the money to take you to do things I wanted you to do. Like Disney World, you know. Y'all did get to go places, but that was hard. I just wanted to not being able to, well, I can't say, y'all did get a lot of, well, just not traveling as much.
That's funny because I don't think that's how we felt. Like I mean, I won't
Because
speak
y'all
for them
pretty
they're not
much
here.
had a lot,
Yeah.
but
I never knew. Because I've seen it in other people's households, in my friends' household, in certain family members' households. I never knew that we were like poor or didn't have, because we had everything, and I feel like, at least for me,
y'all didn't know if we were struggling,
right. I don't think I
which
learned.
we did. You didn't know that.
I don't think I
A
learned
child
about
should
the
know that.
struggles until
To me.
maybe high school,
Right.
because that's when it was like,
Well, you wanted to do more things. You know, when you get in
Mm-hmm.
high school, you want to go to the prom, you want to go to the homecoming and all that. But all three of you guys, you knew, okay, well, I made sure that, you wanted to work. So
Mm-hmm.
you had a job, like you go to McDonald's and get to work there 20 hours a week. So you was exposed to having your own money and being able to buy some of the stuff that we couldn't buy. But you also learned how to punch a clock, have a savings account, how to spend your money. So, I was also exposed to that too. I worked from, first I cleaned houses for people like my grandmother's friends. Then when I was old enough to work somewhere, I worked through a school program every summer and was able to learn how to save money, how to whatever. So
yeah,
that helped you guys a lot, having
Yep.
that, me and your dad telling you guys, okay, now, you can go and, you want to work at McDonald's, but y'all wanted to.
Oh, I was so mad at him though. You talking about going to work? Because I think what Ricky did at Wendy's, I did Subway.
And Jermaine worked at Sears.
Sears, and Jermaine looked out because he had to do fast food. But I was so mad at Daddy because like I would be mad because he wouldn't take us to school if it was cold outside. Like he was like, you got 2 feet. I'd be like, are you serious right now? Like you about to leave and you can't drop us off at school, and he would not take us to
That
school.
was him,
like,
because
I'm like, dude, drop us off. But I'm sure the boys would tell you the same. Ricky and Jermaine would tell you the same thing. He was wrong for that. Like, why can't you just like take it to school? So I think some stuff was we learned, but some stuff was like, okay, you being too strict and hard about some things. Like, come on, help us out.
Evil in the morning.
Yeah, 100%. Probably
He
still
was
is.
evil in the, ain't no, just go on and take him to school.
But then he wouldn't do it. I wanted to do something I wanted to go to, or something I wanted to do, and I remember asking y'all about it, and the answer was no. Was it the 8th grade trip? Like when you go to Washington or something like that? Something was going on, and you guys told me no. And I remember I was pissed. I was so mad, like I couldn't do it. And I remember I was working at Kmart then, so I had my little job. I had my
Right.
little money, and I was like, I guess I must have got grown. I was like, I'm gonna go anyway, this and the other, and you let me know you're not going nowhere because I gotta fill out that paperwork and stuff, and you got school clothes and stuff to buy. Like with this money, I remember being mad. Being mad because I'm like, how you gonna tell this is my money? Like feeling myself like, oh, and then when I looked at that budget, like, oh, I can't do this and do that. I think that's when I started to realize, like, oh, life is just not, you don't just get everything you want just because you feel like you should have it. I think some kids find out earlier, but I don't think I realized till then, because it's what I want to do.
Were we both working at that time?
To be honest with you, I don't know. I feel like Daddy was still at Rudolph Levy. Maybe he was laid off at the time.
So funds wasn't low for me and your dad to where could we afford to send you?
I don't think so. I don't think I knew that though at the time. I thought just because I was working too, like y'all should have sent me, let me go.
And
to
that's
the 8th grade
probably,
trip.
and that's why I'm thinking that's why we was like, without saying, okay, we can't afford it. No, you need to get your school, And that's something else I feel. Now, I regret that because I feel a child, they go to school, they go to work. Yes, they need to save. Yes, they need to buy certain things, but they shouldn't be denied of spending money on certain stuff, especially like going on a trip.
Yeah.
But funds had to be low.
Yeah. But then I got, my brat side came out then, because then I was just like, well, I'm going to grind, I'll make my money, I'm going to just do everything, and kind of built up this like, well, anybody going to help me, I'm going to do it on my own thing, not knowing until years later that that's not why y'all told me no. It was because there wasn't enough money to send me on the trip. So I was like, even though I had the privilege to be able to work and do the different things, I think my mindset had to change, because there was a bit of like a brat in me, like, well, because that's what I'm saying, like, I know you're saying like we didn't get to do more trips and stuff. I don't actually feel like, there's probably a couple things I can name on one hand where it's like I asked for something and didn't get it. Mm-hmm. Because if y'all wasn't able to provide it, one of my grandparents could, we
worked it out, but it was rough.
And I was so hurt because the only thing that can come out my mouth to him was, why didn't you want me? Like, why didn't you want us? And I was mad because that's not what I wanted to say to him, but like I had everything else I wanted to say to him stored up for years.
Yeah.
And the only thing that come out my mouth is like, why didn't you want me? Why didn't you want my mom? Like, why didn't you want us? Like,